get to as many as possible, but I guess we'll kind of break the ice a bit to begin with. Was there always the intention after the lowdown that, you know, that went pretty well and one day we'll do something else together?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, what's really strange is that out of all the actors I've worked with, Aidan's the only one I've become friends with. I don't know why that is, but really good friends, and we just really got on straight away, and I think that so I kind of got to know him really well, and we'd always talked about doing another film together, and we'd always talked about this character, and I thought if I was going to do another film again with Aidan, I think the first thing I thought we would do was this character.
That sounds stunning.
You just eaten as well.
Yeah, I think that definitely the idea was in my head that we wanted to do something again, but it took a long time. But even, you know, as we were doing this one, I was kind of thinking I want to do another one, but within, you know, the next 2 years, as opposed to the next 10 years.
Yeah, we want to do another one again. And, I think we felt like we just want to, we're almost pushing ourselves, pushing each other, and we kind of want to keep doing that now. And I felt that Aidan was kind of some of the roles that he's known for, quite dark, moody kind of characters, and I knew that he had this real propensity for comedy from getting to know him, and he really made me laugh. And this is one of the characters he brought to me was this character, and he did such a great sort of take on this, and would have us and everyone who's, you know, in his stitches, and I just said, oh, we've just got to do it, because I knew that he'd done other roles like this, but they hadn't really been seen in film so much, and he played Skinny in Mojo in Jez Butler's play, which I never saw, but I'd seen the play, and I knew that Skinny was a very funny character, so I could imagine Aidan being, and I knew he got great reviews for that. So I just felt it was time for it. I really wanted to show Aidan's range, you know.
So where did that character come from originally? Because if you said it's a character you brought to him, what was it?
Yeah, well, that character is loosely based, or more than a little loosely based, maybe, on a guy that I know in Dublin. A guy I've known since I was a kid. He was brought up in. I've always been kind of fascinated with him and with his optimism. I mean, Jamie had suggested a while back about trying to make a film about an optimistic character, someone who's wildly optimistic despite kind of seemingly everything being stacked against him, and that's the person I thought of. I showed him a documentary that was made about this other look at it, and he kind of agreed. It's not him, but it's just his, you know, he does talk like that. He, you know, when we started talking about it at first, it was kind of, there was a point where we came to the decision has to be made whether to kind of be as kind of extreme. I mean, I don't know if that's extreme or not, but, you know, are people going to buy it or not? Are people going to put up with it because it's annoying? Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was what we were worried. You know, on the page when people wrote the script, some people thought the character might be annoying. And what was interesting from reactions from early on from audiences, some people did find him annoying, but it was the same. The same reaction as Tom did, that they warmed to him and realised he was
endearing at the same
time.
Almost the same time as Tom warms to him.
But it's not supposed to be a piss take of, like, you know, people like that or whatever. I mean, I've always been kind of drawn to kind of people who are kind of pushed to the side or who are kind of considered to be kind of, you know, borderline mental cases or who nobody wants to know about. You know, I've always kind of wanted to hang out with them. And you know, it's just interesting and or beat them, yeah.
Because there's that bit of you that thinks, first look at this character, he's somebody you kind of do exactly what Tom does. You go to the other side of the street to avoid them, or you'd be standing up on stop and thinking, dear God, don't come and speak to me, kind of thing. But it's that kind of, actually, there's a human being here who's kind of funny and smart and could actually kind of be your pal, might be the best thing that ever happened to you, almost. Kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we just wanted to push that idea of, obviously, you know, he does try to get away from him, and and he's either too polite or too depressed to kind of find the energy to tell him to F off. And you know, obviously it plays with the idea of sort of slightly sort of luck kind of encounters and stuff that he kind of gets involved and pulled back in. You know, for me it was key that, you know, he nearly kind of gets beaten up, and Tom's character nearly gets beaten up in the park, and then he witnesses Aidan's character getting beaten up in the back, and I think that was the moment where I decided that's where his character sort of realises he has to kind of make some kind of act to kind of get involved in his life to some degree. But you know, I think you know, it was always about an odd couple.
Yeah.
And
so yeah, I mean, how do you go from having that character and thinking there's something interesting there in that personality to developing it into a story and script?
You know,
entire film?
well, the thing that really drove me was just the image of Aidan getting smacked in the face and coming up smiling. I just thought that was such a funny image. Someone laughing while they're getting hit and just taking it really well. I just thought that was such a sort of fresh image, and that was the, you know, I think I read somewhere or saw in some program that Hitchcock was, you know, was driven by one thing in a movie that really drove him to really make the film, and I think it's kind of true. There's just this one thing you just, I've got to do this. This is what I really want to. And it was that image, and in some way that kind of is quite a pivotal moment. It happens a couple of times, but I just felt there was so much drama in that. Someone being hit and just laughing while they get hit.
Fair enough. Anyone want to ask anything at this point, or give any kind of reactions to? Do you love the film, or just applaud warmly and whatever?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Love the film. Alright,
All right.
you go first.
Right. No, you go first then.
You first?
Yeah.
Okay. I really loved it. Thank you very much. Aidan, the first I knew of you was when I used to secretly watch Queer as Folk in my bedroom with the sound down and the subtitles on when I was about 14. I knew my parents would disapprove. But it was the first TV show, I think, that made me realise how powerful film and TV could be, and that it could bring kind of quite important issues up. And I just wondered if there were shows or films like that for either of you when you were growing up.
Yeah. Well, there was things that I'd seen that made me want to be an actor, but it was The Singing Detective was one of them. Boys from the Block stuff was another. And Alan Clark's films like Elephant, although I think that was mainly like the 80s. Scone. There were things. There were things made by the BBC generally for television. The Screen 2 one-off films, and the first non-theatre work I had was I did 3 of those. You know, that was the kind of thing that I wanted to be in, and I went to London, got cast in a play, and then managed to get cast in 3 of those Screen 2 films, which are, you know, it's just made. They're you know, it's made as a film, and you know it's going to be seen. Because, you know, you can make something like this, or like lots of other things that I've done, they might be good, but nobody might ever see them.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice to be in a place where, you know, that could happen. And they're not doing so much of it now anymore, which is a pity. And that it's kind of, people want to watch, you know, people doing the ironing or whatever.
Eating bugs in the jungle.
What about you, Jamie?
Jamie, what about you?
It's very similar stuff to Aidan actually. I mean, another Dennis Potter thing I remember very strongly as a kid was Blue Remembered Hills, which it just still stays with me today. Just that sort of surrealism of adults playing children. It was fantastic, and actually that was still very much an influence on this actually in some respects. I remember thinking, and I actually found like stuff like Monty Python, and would watch that with my dad, and more Terry Gilliam's animation kind of quite disturbing, and even stuff like Leonard Rossiter in Rise of just the stuff just cutting to the hippo. I just find that really used to unsettle me for some. It was just the surrealism. it's actually quite trippy, a lot of all that stuff, I think, going back to it. And so,
Because there's almost a Reggie Perrin.
yeah, there's definitely a Reggie Perrin feel to it. That was a kind of
walking and
yeah.
whatever year normally on the TV.
Yeah, well, and I remember being really upset by the idea of a guy walking out with his family in that show back then, and that really did upset me. You know, when you're a kid, the feeling that your parents could split up or one of them could walk out with you. So, you know, I was watching that sort of stuff quite young. So, yeah. Even actually, and obviously, Tales of the Unexpected.
Oh yeah,
It was just more the music and the and the title sequence to the front. I had to hide behind that. That used to disturb the hell out of me.